Okay, it's Ramadan, and possibly in an attempt to stave off I'm going to have to blur this word out, by the way, to stave off a bomb campaign. Keir Starmer has delivered a speech telling Muslims how terribly hard done they are by the British people. And of course, the King has chipped in his two ha'porth, well, probably more like a sovereign's worth, by inviting a whole crowd of Muslims to break their Ramadan fast at Windsor Castle. How generous of him. And we have to remember that despite that, this is a very difficult time for Muslims in the UK. Well, according to Starmer anyway, but of course it's in his interests to pander to that particular trope. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. So this is what Sir Keir said. Speaking at the event on Tuesday evening, the Prime Minister thanked British Muslims for their contributions in every community in Britain and reflected on the pain of the conflict in Gaza and how conflict abroad affects communities here at home. I know this is a very difficult time for Muslims here, he said, with the pain of the conflict in Gaza and the suffering of the Palestinians. Yeah, I haven't noticed him saying anything about the Jews. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of that just a little while ago. Well, first of all, there's this, which, believe me, is probably a pretty tough time for Jews as well. Let's just take a look at this. This was taken one Saturday in, Golders Green mostly, I think, where there had been a pro-Palestine rally in London, after which a convoy of cars waving Palestine flags went through Jewish areas of London, which they knew being a Saturday, a lot of Jews would be at home trying to enjoy the Sabbath, and they were shouting through a tannoy. And this is what they were shouting. He just said, rape their daughters. Now, it said after there'd been many frantic calls from local Jews, who recorded this, the police finally got to follow this convoy. It was something like 3 or 4 hours later when they were already on the road back to Bradford. And the men were arrested, released on bail, and charges were dropped. So, this is a difficult time for Muslims. I just want you to remember that. That's what Keir Starmer has to say about it. I am absolutely clear that the Palestinians must be allowed to rebuild. We should stand alongside them in this effort on the road to a two-state solution, the only way to get lasting peace, in my opinion. Actually, I think the two-state solution is long dead, along with all the Israeli hostages and those little Bibas children who were, as I've already pointed out, strangled to death with somebody's bare hands. I also read that, the family dogs were shot. I just read that today. It suddenly started going round on Facebook. They frequently, it turns out, were shooting the family dogs in front of the kids. Just to be nice. And if there is some, antagonism towards Muslims, it might be because of this. Now, it's shocking, he says, that in 2024 was the worst year for anti-Muslim hate crime since the Home Office began collecting data. Well, yeah, and I think the worst year for anti-Jewish hate crime as well, mostly carried out by Muslims, it would appear. So in an attempt, no doubt, to soothe the Muslim community, actually it's nothing of the sort, it's not a community, but anyway, according to him it is, he obviously advised the king to, well, show willing. So let's just have a look at this.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
The call to prayer echoed through St George's Hall and signified that
This is Windsor Castle, and there's the call to Muslim prayer as the castle is taken over for a Muslim religious ceremony.
time to break the fast. Dates were eaten before prayers were said, and then the meal.
You see all these statues there. Well, I don't think religious Muslims should actually be eating or praying in that room. I think the king would be well advised to watch out, because Muslims don't like statues very much, and they may be eating here now, but we can't say they won't be doing this next. So I'd be careful if I were the king, actually. But yeah, that's just my opinion, isn't it? The most he could say about what happened to the Israeli hostages would be to call them sausages during a speech. And it has occurred to me, I was thinking of something else about the lack of our intellectual elite's concern for the brutality of what happened, particularly to Israeli women during the 2023 October the 7th invasion. And most of the so-called intellectuals seem particularly, supremely unconcerned about this, which did puzzle me. But then it occurred to me that they don't even care about British women being raped or British children being raped. So why should they care about Israelis? It's all part of the same idea. But I'll bet you they'll start to care when statues in Windsor Hall or the British Museum get broken up. But then it'll be too late. And it won't be just a difficult time for Muslims then. It'll be a difficult time for all of us. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.